tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
We don't know if the shooter even knew there were people inside.
Shots are fired at a new cafe in Surrey, owned by a Bollywood actor and comedian. Plus,
a lot of friends and family support from here. It was absolutely beautiful.
Loved ones of a woman killed in a daylight attack in Kelowna gather as her ex-partner appears in court, charged with murder. And
oh my God, I don't like.
Shortened parade. Vancouver's main Pride celebration is being trimmed as corporate sponsors back out.
For every block, there's a cost. When you need the safety, the security.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news. Donald Trump is threatening to slap a 35% tariff on all Canadian goods as the two countries try to hammer out some kind of new trade arrangement. The threat comes in a letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney that the president posted on social media. The new rate is up from the current two-tier rate of 10% and 25%, depending on what's being sent south of the border. Trump is also promising reciprocal tariffs if Canada retaliates. He again raised the issue of fentanyl trafficking and Canada's dairy supply management system as barriers. Canada and the U.S. continue talks ahead of a July 21st deadline to reach a deal. Police in Surrey are trying to find whoever opened fire on a local cafe owned by a well-known Indian comedian. Kapil Sharma's Cap Cafe just opened for business. Jessica Chung shows us the shocking video police are now looking at.
From the point of view of the shooter, video posted online appears to show someone firing into a cafe in Surrey, BC. In daylight, bullet holes pepper the storefront. Police say the violence here just before 2 a.m. happened while staff were still inside. No one was injured, and police say a motive has yet to be determined.
It's very brazen. We don't know if the shooter even knew there were people inside, but regardless, anytime shots are fired, whether it's one or more than one, it puts people in danger.
The cafe is owned by prominent Indian actor and comedian Kapil Sharma. It opened just days ago. There are reports in Indian media that a Khalistani separatist leader has claimed responsibility for the shooting. Police have not confirmed this, but say they are not ruling out any motive.
There's nothing at this time that points it to being purely political or extortion related. Again, we have to let the evidence guide the investigation.
The incident is reminiscent of a shooting on Vancouver Island last September that targeted the home of Indo-Canadian musician A.P. Dillon. Two men in their 20s were arrested. Indian media said the attack was perpetrated by gangs and related to his fame. This latest shooting rattling neighbors.
I have been there once as well, just a few days ago, and then, this news is just very disappointing.
I thought it's a very quiet place to near my work, but if these scenes happens, so it's very hard to live over here.
The police tape is all gone, but the bullet holes still remain as a reminder of the violence. Now, police suspect that there are more witnesses and dash cam video of the incident. They're urging anyone that saw or recorded what happened to contact them. Jessica Chung, CBC News, Surrey.
Close to 100 people gathered outside the Kelowna courthouse ahead of James Edward Plover's appearance there. He is charged with second-degree murder after a daylight attack on two women last week. Bailey Plover, his ex-partner, was killed. As Kimberly Davidson explains, James Plover had just been convicted of uttering threats and choking in a domestic case that same morning.
Supporters of Bailey Plover's family gathered together, comforted each other, and held up signs ahead of the hearing. It was standing room only in the courtroom as the accused appeared by video. James Plover will be back in court September 16th. Bailey's mother, Karen Fair, says she won't be at every appearance.
I will be here for the trial 100%, but I'm not going to waste my energy on that. She wouldn't want me to waste my energy on that. It doesn't do anything for her, and it doesn't do anything for me.
Later in the morning, the Kelowna RCMP held a community outreach event. The idea, to give people the opportunity to engage with police if they have questions about public safety these days.
Come over here, and our showcase is just right here.
Libby Phillips is the owner of Caucasians in Kelowna. When she heard the name of the woman killed in the public attack, her blood ran cold.
My husband asked me if I knew her, and my only response was, I did their wedding.
Phillips then decided to hold Bailey's Day on July 15th. 100% of sales from every confection, delectable, and treat will go to Bailey Plover's 2 young daughters, now without a mother. Libby Phillips is a survivor of domestic abuse. She says what happened to Bailey shines a spotlight on all the ways the justice system is failing victims.
Bailey was very clear. She posted on her social media that she was afraid.
Phillips and many others in this community hoping, beyond hope, that Bailey's killing may spark some change in the justice system. Kimberly Davidson, CBC News, Kelowna.
The case against James Plover is one of 3 alleged instances of intimate partner violence to shake the province in the past week. 2 of them involved people in their 60s and older. As Jonna Bailon reports, intimate partner violence has been rising among older people.
In East Vancouver, this storage facility serves as a temporary home for people's precious belongings. Women and children store items there while relocating to escape violence. Local charity Shelter Movers serves people of all ages, but says it's seeing a new trend.
There definitely is a rise in seniors and people who are of older ages.
3 incidents involving intimate partner violence have made headlines in BC in the last week alone. 2 of them involved older adults. In Surrey on Monday, a woman in her 80s was found dead in the home she shared with her partner. A week prior in Abbotsford, a couple in their 80s were found dead in what police believe is a case of murder-suicide. In both incidents, investigators say there are indications intimate partner violence was involved. They have not provided further information on the victims.
These femicides show that even in their 60s or 80s, women are not safe from intimate partner violence. And if anything, age can increase and does increase the sense of isolation.
Federal government data shows that from 2018 to 2023, intimate partner violence increased by 22% for people aged 25 to 64 and by 36% for people aged 65 and up. It also shows that in 2023, nearly 4 in 5 victims were female, but the actual numbers could be higher as not everyone reports their experience.
These are complex relationships. Some of these abusers are the caretakers, the main caretakers for people who are of an older age.
Advocates are pleading for more to be done to understand what happened to the victims and to try and prevent future incidents.
It's important that we recognize elder abuse and report it, both suspicious and confirmed instances, in order to protect vulnerable people in our province.
We have to look at a coroner's inquest to understand the layers of issues, in particular for older women.
In a statement, BC's Parliamentary Secretary for Gender Equity says cases like these highlight the need for continuous improvements in how we identify risk, support survivors, and ensure all parts of the justice system are working together. We are actively working to improve the system. 2 weeks ago, an independent review of BC's legal system made recommendations to address its failures to enact justice for victims and survivors.
We need to make sure that this is not acceptable. Women should be treated as human beings first.
BC's Attorney General has said a cross-government committee will review the report and make recommendations for next steps. Jonna Bailon, CBC News, Vancouver.
The beleaguered pediatric unit at Kelowna General Hospital is planning to restart services beginning Sunday. The unit was closed in late May, the closure blamed on a doctor's shortage. Since then, 22 patients have been transferred to other pediatric units in the area. Now Interior Health says elective pediatric surgeries, diagnostics that require sedation, and daytime hour admissions will restart. The hope is that the number of transfers will drop once operations resume. Children needing emergency care, though, in Kelowna should visit Kelowna General's ER. The provincial government is urging more people to get the measles vaccine as that virus makes a resurgence in BC and across the country. Officials on average say about 1 in 10 people with measles experiences serious complications. There have been 102 cases reported in the province so far this year. Alberta has reported more than 1,200. That number is expected to climb as summer travel increases. Our health minister says the disease can be very dangerous.
Measles is an extremely contagious virus. It can lead to serious disease and cause complications, including pneumonia, inflammation of the brain, and even death. The best and most effective way to prevent measles is through vaccination with the measles, mumps, and rubella, or MMR vaccine.
Controversy over Richmond's Olympic Oval continues to swirl as the city that owns it and those who now run it clash over its future governance. But as Justin McElroy explains, there could soon be some clarity.
The Richmond Olympic Oval. It is fully owned by the City of Richmond, receives $3 to $4 million a year from the City of Richmond, but isn't actually operated by the City of Richmond directly, though that could soon change.
Look at the situation we're in with the Oval, with the community. It's not healthy. If you think it is, you got your head shaken.
That is Councillor Bill McNulty, one of the Richmond councillors who voted in favour of a review of the Olympic Oval's governance on Monday. The Oval has been overseen by a separate board, with around 20% of its revenue coming directly from the city and the rest coming from programs, memberships, and Olympic-related funds for high-performing athletes. But it is currently under audit by the city, and there have been questions about a lack of accountability.
And we need to do our job, and we're not doing our job as councillors.
At the center of the controversy is a person who retired from Richmond last year, George Duncan. He was the chief administrative officer of the city for more than 20 years, and at the same time, the CEO of the Olympic Oval. And he made a lot of money. Here is a chart. When Duncan retired as Richmond's top staffer, he received nearly $300,000 in benefits. Not uncommon for a retiring senior staffer, but he stayed on as CEO of the Oval and began being separately paid by them. And when his 2-year term ended, he received another $373,000 in additional benefits. When asked for comment, both Richmond Mayor Malcolm Brodie and the Olympic Oval said they weren't allowed to speak on personnel matters.
Mr. Duncan was very good at writing contracts, and his hand-picked board made sure that those things were approved. So at this point, there's nothing we can do because it's already been done so long ago.
In the last 18 months, though, the board that approved Duncan's contract with the Oval was entirely replaced. The debate now is whether even bigger changes are needed, which could see the Oval pivot away from high-performance training and closer to the model of a plus-size community center.
All the other community centers have programs for children and seniors that are living in poverty. And if the city is running it, the city would have 100% access to everything, as opposed to asking questions in a council meeting and not getting the answers.
One answer will come next Monday when council will give the green light on whether to cut funding to the Oval to $2.5 million next year and initiate that review of the governance structure. Until then, speculation over its future and past governance will keep going round and round. Justin McElroy, CBC News, Richmond.
And some cooler temperatures and rain are offering a reprieve from wildfires. The BC Wildfire Service says there are no blazes of note causing significant threats. The Thompson-Nicola Regional District has also rescinded an evacuation order and alert linked to the Eisman Creek blaze north of Lytton. An evacuation alert for 113 properties near the Welland Creek wildfire near the Kelowna airport has also been lifted.
And the area of concern continues to be the northeast region of the province there and the Prince George Fire Centre. As in years past, they're experiencing some incredibly strong drought conditions.
I know you. Meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff has been on the Science and Climate Beat for us for some time now, doing great work. She's a little familiar with the studio, but now she's in for Darius this rest of this week with a look at the weather. Hello, friend.
Hi, Dan. Nice to see you. You fancy meeting you here, right?
Indeed. The old home week.
The whole week, yeah. And I've got a great forecast following that fire update. As you heard, good rain over the past 24 hours for most of the province. This is that swirling system that brought a good 15 to 40 millimeters to southern BC last night, about half our July normals. That was quite the soaker. That is now tracking eastward. This is the next weather system at play. It will bring showers to central and northern coastal sections, but Dan, for us, hot and dry ahead on the south coast. I'll break that down coming up.
Okay. Thanks, Johanna.
You're welcome.
It's a job seekers market in BC right now for the lifeguards. We'll tell you why, but why cities are still struggling to fill up those chairs.
Wednesdays are officially the best day of the week this summer. CBC Musical Nooners have returned. Free concerts Wednesdays only. Head to cbc.ca/musical news.
For the first time in years, Vancouver's Pride Parade will be shorter. Organizers say the change isn't just about logistics. As Maurice Katz reports, it comes amid a dip in sponsorship dollars.
That was last year, and then this is this year.
The 47th annual Vancouver Pride Parade is taking a shorter east to west route. Last year's route began in the West End and finished at Concord Pacific Place. The new route, roughly half of that, and in the opposite direction, ending on Burrard Street.
Oh my God, I don't like.
It makes me maybe a little sad that it isn't as long as it could be.
As long as all the marchers and entrants are accommodated, I'm fine with how long it is.
There are a few reasons for the changes.
Last year it was identified that the route was just far too long. Some of the accessibility issues, some of the concerns about heat exhaustion.
By reversing the route, he says, the festival will now be closer to the community, which is centered in the West End. The elephant in the room? Funding.
For every block, there's a cost. When you need the safety, the security, the road closures, cleanup at the end.
Finding a way to pay for all of that has been an issue for the organization. The Pride Society says it's seen a drop in corporate sponsors, roughly a 50% decrease between 2024 and 2025. Lululemon, one of the missing sponsors, writes that while they are hosting a series of events in support of the Pride community across North America, they will not be directly sponsoring these celebrations. The society wants more support.
The city and the businesses that pay taxes into the city benefit quite a bit from this. It would be nice to see more.
The City of Vancouver writes that this year the society will qualify for a $75,000 discount on their event costs, the same amount as last year. On top of that, a cultural grant of $7,500, but that's $500 less than 2024. On social media, some worried about the future of Pride. Boychuk, though, says he's not concerned.
And how do you stop something that's been moving forward for 47 years? You couldn't stop it if you tried.
The parade is scheduled for Sunday, August 3rd, starting at 1 p.m. Maurice Katz, CBC News, Vancouver.
A shortage of lifeguards in BC appears to have been fixed. The Life Saving Society of BC and Yukon says there are now more lifeguards than ever. But as Renee Lucas explains, cities are still facing staffing challenges.
It's a job seekers market right now for lifeguards in BC. A big shift from 2 years ago when a Canada-wide post-COVID shortage forced many communities to scale back pool hours and cancel lessons.
Everybody has an open spot, and these young lifeguards are able to really pick and choose where they want to work and what hours they typically want to work.
Hirakata says the bulk of lifeguards are working in multiple municipalities at once, and those aged 18 to 24 are often prioritizing work-life balance, meaning employers need to become more flexible with scheduling and find incentives to keep people around.
Like in last year, the city offered free fitness passes to city employees. We've also, for the regular part-time employees, which is unique in the aquatic industry, those that have worked 1,000 hours, we pay for their recertifications to keep their lifeguarding certs active and current.
2 years ago, West Vancouver created a free lifeguard training program to address the shortage. Mitzel says his municipality stopped short of that because retention is so low. Some in the youth employment service industry say, in general, incentives get the job done.
Because, of course, tuition is very expensive, but it also depends on the industry. So whether or not the industry has a lot of growth in the future, is there a lot of positions that open up? Are there a lot of full-time positions available?
But Hirakata says a lot of young lifeguards aren't going after full-time or leadership positions.
We are seeing that some people might not be willing to take on that level of responsibility.
Hirakata says this shifting of priorities in the workforce is showing up as a lack of services, like swimming lessons, leaving many worried about a generation of children without basic water safety skills. Renee Lucas, CBC News, Vancouver.
Lovely. The early morning hours from up on the Johnstone Strait between Vancouver Island and the mainland. The clouds clearing out all day as a sunny stretch hits the province. Johanna Wagstaff has your BC-wide forecast coming up. On July 13th, 2009, the City of Vancouver approved a permanent bicycle lane on the south side of the Burrard Street Bridge. In the months leading up to that decision, though, there was strong opposition from community members and leaders. Many motorists and opposition parties feared sharing the road with cyclists would lead to gridlock. And there was also a lingering memory of the city's even earlier attempt at a bike lane on the span, a trial that lasted 1 week in June 1996. Let's go back in time.
It's a parody of everything the bicycle people believe is wrong with traffic in Vancouver.
Let's get him again! This morning we surrender. We're going to surrender the bike lane that we enjoyed last week, and we're giving it back to the car because we realize we don't need anything but cars. Surrender, we surrender.
It was a short-lived victory for cyclists.
This is stupid. There are 2 cyclists and 9 million cars, and they got a whole lane.
As part of a 1-week experiment, the city gave over an entire lane of the Burrard Street Bridge to the two-wheelers. City Hall wanted to see what would happen.
The morons who run this city never cease to amaze me.
City Hall found out.
We have a bicycle advisory committee at City Hall, and we've been through a long study trying to figure out whether to close off a lane, do nothing, put wings on the outside. We even had plans to put a suspended bike bridge underneath and so on, but nothing worked, and we never got consensus from the public on what they liked or didn't like, so we decided to have an experiment.
Council's job now is to look at other options, but they promise no more experiments.
There's no plans to do anything at this point.
Meanwhile, bike advocate and councillor Gordon Price says changes must be made. The result of this week's experiment will be carefully analyzed.
Unquestionably, congestion was unacceptable. Watching it evolve, though, was interesting. It does indicate that there is some capacity there. Question, though, I still think is going to be dependent on the kind of statistics that we get and the options we've got before us.
The bike people say they're not holding out a lot of hope for a quick solution. Last week's experiment cost $50,000. Council, with approval from the voters, has another $9 million set aside to make the Burrard Street Bridge more pedestrian and cyclist friendly. How they spend it, though, is a decision even they admit could take years. Deborah Goebel, CBC News, Vancouver.
That was 29 years ago. But now the Burrard Bridge bike lane is one of the busiest in Metro Vancouver. To talk about the impact of bike lanes on urban infrastructure, we're joined by Navdeep China, the Director of Campaigns and Inclusion at Hub Cycling. Navdeep, looking back at 1996, what do you make of that reaction?
Yes, that 1996 attempt failed pretty quickly, but we were able to learn from that and succeed in 2009 because we were able to better understand the local context, build broader coalitions, and learn from the mistakes. The Burrard Bridge bike lane saga shows that with patience, smart strategy, and meaningful community engagement, even the most contentious transportation projects can become success stories.
Now, since the installation of that bike lane, how do you think it's shifted Vancouver and perhaps the Lower Mainland's transportation culture?
Oh, the success of this transformative change has provided a roadmap for many other infrastructure projects across the region. And we must also remember that the Burrard Street Bridge was not just a bike lane project, but rather it was a project that made the bridge a lot more accessible to people walking, people in wheelchairs, people using micromobility. And on top of that, it was also an opportunity to redesign the intersections so that we can remove the conflict between people in vehicles and people using other modes of transportation. So in addition to being the busiest bike route in North America, we now also have a very safe intersections on both ends of the bridge.
You can see how contentious it was, and I remember when they put it in permanently in 2009, being a cyclist and a driver as well as a pedestrian. What other areas, perhaps beyond this, do you think have served as a good example of how to do this when perhaps both motorists and pedestrians, as well as those who aren't using either, can be accommodated?
A good example is the neighborhood streets where we have very little space and we want to share it with people driving their personal vehicles, as well as people trying to use active transportation. And we have a success story again. The Vancouver Council just yesterday approving a motion to start implementing 30 km/h speed zones in many neighborhood streets. And our hope is that this will be copied in municipalities across the region, and even taking a step further, that the provincial government will acknowledge the success and make it a province-wide change.
We also see a big trend in urban transportation with e-scooters, e-bikes. They've also raised some concerns related to safety, speed in bike lanes, etc. What would you think is the best strategy for incorporating those vehicles with all the other vehicles and people that use roads?
Yes, the best and most effective solution is we separate the different modes. We separate people on scooters and e-bikes and regular bikes from people walking, and at the same time separating both these modes from people driving. When we remove the conflict between all the different modes, it makes it a lot more accessible and safer for everyone. And the benefits are so much, like the health benefits, the congestion-related benefits, the greenhouse gas emission come down. So everybody wins.
All right. Navdeep China, the Director of Campaigns and Inclusion at Hub Cycling. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Police have arrested and charged a teenager in eastern Ontario after last month's attack on an 8-year-old girl. The 17-year-old is now charged with attempted murder and sexual assault with a weapon. Police had initially suspected her injuries, the victims, were caused by an animal. Nicole Williams has more.
It's a stunning revelation that has shaken this small village to its core.
My heart dropped. Right now I'm hurting really bad, yes.
Shocked, disbelief, heartbroken, numb.
2 weeks ago, an 8-year-old girl from the community of Quadville, Ontario, went missing, found after a late-night search, badly hurt.
These injuries that this little person suffered were horrible. Life-threatening, multiple injuries, horrible injuries.
Police suspected it was an animal attack, warning people nearby to keep young kids inside or under close watch, but not saying what to watch for.
We didn't know what was going on. There was a lot of questions like, why are we supposed to keep our kids indoors? What are we supposed to be scared of?
Now, in a shocking development, police have charged a 17-year-old male with attempted murder and sexual assault using a weapon on a minor.
As things progressed, we started looking at an individual in the community. And as a result of that, we made an arrest.
That was on Tuesday, and a day later, the results of forensic testing came back, showing no trace of animal DNA in the girl's wounds.
They did have every appearance of being an animal attack. The fact that it was a person is just something we kept as a door that was open.
For this small community of less than 300 people, the news of what may have happened to this little girl cuts deep.
It's very sad. I'm sorry. I didn't know her personally, but I see them all the time. It's very sad.
Police are not sharing details about the suspect because he's a minor. The teen scheduled to appear in court next week, but OPP's investigation continues, with officers still on the ground asking questions. And with tensions here at an all-time high, police are now looking to face those head-on. They're going to be hosting a town hall here on Saturday in the hopes of finally being able to provide some answers. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Quadville, Ontario.
That pledge by many Canadians to boycott U.S. goods and travel amid the trade war is still strong. It's been 5 months since Donald Trump started that battle and threatened to annex our country. Sophia Harris looks at the staying power of the Buy Canadian movement.
Here you go.
It's shaping up to be a record sales year at this Ottawa gift shop, where almost every item is entirely made in Canada. Hot sellers include patriotic chocolate bars.
It's been really popular.
And this elbows up t-shirt.
It's really just a classic shirt you might want to wear out and about.
U.S. President Donald Trump began to anger Canadians back in February by launching a trade war and recommending Canada join the United States.
I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be
our 51st state.
That sparked a boycott of U.S. goods, so sales here soared and continue to do so, up 80% year over year.
It's like a big hug from your neighbors across the country saying, you know, we're in this together and we're going to protect our country.
Boycotts often wane over time, but the Buy Canadian movement remains strong.
It's something that has persisted. We've seen about 40% of small businesses say that they've seen increased sales in Canadian and locally made products.
For explicitly political reasons, I have been avoiding American products as much as I can. I just got to do the best that I can to support Canada right now.
Many Canadians also continue to avoid U.S. travel. The number of times Canadians visited the U.S. in June compared to last year declined by 22% for air travel and by 33% for land travel.
People are still traveling. We're just seeing less people traveling to the U.S. and more people traveling to places like Europe.
Part of the reasons why boycotts can be sustained is media attention.
This marketing professor says the boycott largely lives on because Trump is constantly in the news.
Canada is a very tough country to deal with.
It's got some staying power. When Trump calls us the 51st state as a deliberate insult, it is amplified on social media. And so he's actually keeping it top of mind. He's keeping the boycott going.
The question now, just how long will the U.S. boycott last? The answer may be up to Trump. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Washington remains hopeful for a ceasefire deal in Gaza. The latest round of negotiations have been dragging on for days, and so has the fighting between Israel and Hamas. Sasha Petrusik has more from Jerusalem.
Early this morning, Israelis in Tel Aviv were woken up by a missile coming in from Yemen, from the Houthi rebels there. Israel says it was knocked out of the sky, but it means and it underlines just how much things are still continuing here, the threats that have been exchanged on both sides. We're also seeing airstrikes in Gaza by Israel and hearing that more than 50 people have been killed. This is having a big impact because many of the people in Gaza have been hearing about these negotiations going on and that peace is just around the corner. Doesn't seem that way to one woman who lost both her husband and her brother in this. The people closest to my heart are gone, she says. We're tired of being used as pawns for negotiations. So, as all of this fighting continues, the negotiations are continuing in Doha. Talks there between Israel and Hamas, indirectly through mediators like the Qataris and the United States. U.S. mediator and envoy Steve Witkoff is supposed to be arriving soon to take things to another level, they hope. But we've been hearing for several days now that an agreement, a negotiated settlement of some kind, a plan, would be in place within a few days. That's what Donald Trump said in Washington, but he's not sounding as optimistic now, and he's saying it could take another week or perhaps more. This is what he had to say.
I think we have a chance this week or next week. Not definitely. There's nothing definite about war and Gaza.
Now, as the negotiations continue, both sides seem inclined to accept the core of this proposal, which is a 60-day ceasefire during which Hamas would release about half of the living and dead hostages that remain. That's a total of 50, and half of those would be set free. The real stumbling blocks are over what happens at the end of those 60 days. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Officials from Ukraine's allies are meeting in Rome for the 2025 Ukraine Recovery Conference. That two-day meeting is focused on the rebuilding and reconstruction of that country. It's the fourth such conference since Russia's invasion in February 2022. More now from Anna Cunningham in London.
This conference in Italy is aimed at mobilizing international support for Ukraine. This is what Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says.
We must clearly agree that frozen Russian assets should go toward Ukraine's recovery. Not only the income from these assets, but the assets themselves must be used and much more actively than they are now.
There is a figure, it's based on World Bank estimates, suggesting just how much it would cost to rebuild Ukraine in the event of peace, and that is some $800 billion. Now, Canada is very much a part of this Ukraine Recovery Conference in Italy. The finance minister is there, seen here meeting Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Champagne will take the opportunity to meet with several other international partners. Ukraine is still wanting more military aid. We know recently US President Donald Trump said he would send 10 Patriot missiles. And today the German Chancellor said at this conference that his country is prepared to buy Patriot air defense systems from the US and provide them to Ukraine. But the path to peace between Russia and Ukraine remains very uncertain. In Malaysia today, the US Secretary of State has been meeting with the Russian Foreign Minister just days after President Donald Trump said he was getting increasingly frustrated with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I echoed what the president has said, both disappointment and frustration at the lack of progress in peace talks or in a path forward. So we'll continue to engage. We shared some ideas and comments, which I'll take back to Washington.
Now, he didn't elaborate on what the Russian foreign minister meant by ideas, but Rubio said the US's strategy remains one of engagement with both sides. And this was, he said, one of those opportunities. Anna Cunningham, CBC News, London.
It's only a matter of milliseconds, but scientists say Earth spun slightly faster this week, and it could force timekeepers to tweak our clocks. That story's up in a few ticks. We don't always think about the giant ball called Earth spinning in space, but you might not have noticed on July 9th, it rotated just slightly faster than normal. Scientists say that's not unusual, and it's not enough to throw you out of your bed, thank goodness, but it could eventually add up to a tweak of our clocks. Brittany Enrica explains.
Do you ever feel like time is moving too quickly? Scientists found it's not just a feeling. Some days this summer are going to feel shorter. That's because the Earth is spinning a little bit faster than usual on July 9th, July 22nd, and August 5th. But scientists say don't be alarmed. It's just a matter of milliseconds. So why is this happening? Well, first, we need to understand that a day corresponds to one complete rotation of the Earth on itself and lasts around 24 hours.
In this instance, sort of on a, every few months or a year sort of scale, it can shift either a little bit slower or a little bit faster. It has to do with how sort of mass around Earth is distributed.
Natural phenomena like earthquakes, tides, and underground geology can cause micro changes in time.
In this case, I think they said it's about 1.3 milliseconds faster. Let's just go to 1 millisecond, just to make it like a little bit easier. That's 1,000th of a second. How quick is that? A blink of an eye is about 100 milliseconds. You could fit 100 moments into one eye blink. You would not notice this difference at all.
Okay, so why is this a big deal? And is it really? Well, experts say it's a mix of both.
1,000th of a second, you're not going to be able to notice it. But with the GPS satellites, they rely on timing very precise. And so this would have an effect on that.
Historically, Earth's rotation has been slowing down. Some scientists suggest it may lead to the subtraction of a leap second by 2029, a change never done before. But experts say this isn't anything to worry about, just an impressive fact about space and time.
I think gaining an appreciation for the day-to-day sort of systems that you live and depend on, and realizing that like these changes in the Earth, you're not going to notice that in your day-to-day life, but it does have effects in the things that you use.
You won't be able to physically see the shift in time. It happens way too quickly. But enthusiasts say if you want to enjoy a bit of space, look at what the eye can actually see, like the International Space Station that will be visible in the next few weeks. Brittany Enriquez, CBC News, Montreal.
Johanna Wagstaff, we survived the great speed up of 2025.
I'm getting a t-shirt.
I know, yeah. We have to update this old thing. You've been doing a lot of science and climate stories for us as of late in your new role. One that this one has you intrigued. You've got another spin, if we can call it that, on the time change angle.
That's right. Yeah, I'll make this one quick. It's this is a good one. The last time we lost a whole hour was, you'd have to go back to the Triassic dinosaur era. I told Darius I wasn't going to get dinosaurs in, but I did. They only had 23-hour days, and we'll have to wait another 200 million years until we speed up enough to get 25-hour days. So if you're hoping to get more done in a day, you just have to wait 200 million years. We are heading into the dog days of summer. Hopefully they'll feel a little longer. Today's highs, all about seasonal. 21 at YVR, 23 up towards Squamish today, 24 as we head out towards Fraser Valley, and obviously feeling a little cooler down towards the southern Gulf Islands, but much fresher today. I'm sure you felt that this morning after the rain yesterday. It was a bit of a relief to feel that break in humidity. It is still humid out there. Tomorrow, notice that bump up in temperatures. It will feel a solid 3 to 5 degrees warmer tomorrow than that fresh air today. And this is the beginning of a long, dry stretch for not just the south coast, but most of the province. Taking you through that long-range forecast, this is the next low-pressure system we're watching, hitting central and northern coastal sections tonight with some rain for tomorrow. Here's that spinning low that brought us the rain yesterday. So that's exiting to the east. If you're in the Kootenays tonight, though, watch for some lingering thunderstorms as we speak. They are headed east, though. Through the morning Friday, you can see some general high clouds spilling in over the province. I think for the most part, The south coast stays fairly sunny. Same story in through the Okanagan. Maybe a few high passing clouds. Look at this, though. High pressure just bumping in there from the south for the weekend. And that's what we're really watching for in the long-range forecast. You can see a few showers up towards Prince George, Prince Rupert, but definitely getting into a longer, hotter, drier stretch. So breaking down the 5-day forecast, you can see temperatures inland for Vancouver will be feeling like 30 tomorrow with that humidex. Look at that. Nothing but sun right through next week.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
On the old graphics.
Copy paste. I worked harder than that. I mean, there was a lot of control V's, but yes. Good forecast.
Good to see you again, Joe. Thanks.
You too.
Not many local, or sorry, we should say global celebrities are willing to eat 1/4 of their body weight in one meal. But Moodang, the world's cutest baby pygmy hippo, dives right in as she celebrates a birthday. More after this.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC inbox. Did you hear? CBC Musical Nooners are back. Free concerts Wednesdays at noon at the CBC Outdoor Plaza. To see who's playing this week, head to cbc.ca/musical nooners and experience culture and flavors from around the world at the Surrey Fusion Festival, July 19th and 20th. Make sure to stop by the CBC tent to play games and win prizes. Details at surreyfusionfestival.ca.
Some transit users will soon be commuting on the next generation of SkyTrain cars.
TransLink says the new Mark V train will be hitting the tracks on Friday. Our Pinky Wong got a sneak peek today.
2, 3, let's go!
I want to welcome you to the future of SkyTrain.
A new generation of SkyTrain is hitting the tracks. TransLink is rolling out these new Mark V cars on Expo Line.
Looks good. I like the fact that with the newer people with the newer scooters, they can get on easier than the old trains.
It's so good. I mean, really well designed, you know.
I appreciate the bike racks or the bike straps so I can get onto transit during like less busy times and have my bike on as well.
The first thing I noticed was the new train smell. I think it's kind of like new car smell for me. I also noticed the artwork. It's really pretty on the window.
The Mark I trains are old. They are actually well into their retirement age. So now that we have the Mark Vs coming in, they will add more capacities from what I heard. So yeah, it's going to be amazing.
TransLink said a total of 47 of these trains will be added to the fleet by 2029. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Vancouver.
Love that new train smell.
I love that new, yeah, almost better than a new car smell.
It's true.
Okay, she has been an internet sensation since she was born. Her temper and clumsy antics have inspired memes, art, and even songs.
And now the global superstar is celebrating her first birthday. There she is. Throngs of fans showed up for Moo Deng's birthday party. I'm sure she invited them all. Organized by zookeepers in Thailand. A world-famous baby pygmy hippo is seen attacking a massive fruit platter. Good birthday. She and her mom shared the 20-kilo feast.
The name Moo Deng, by the way, in Thai means bouncing pig. Several of her possessions, including a plastic tub, were auctioned, and the proceeds will go toward a wildlife conservation fund. She's so cute.
I know. Still damp, still smiling.
I was going to say, and probably peak toddler. Peak toddler,
no
right?
kidding.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca.